Hi guys, hang on, I'm getting logged in. Sorry, everybody. Oh. Fail, Darlene, fail. Okay, sorry everybody, we're just gonna have to do this the hard way. I was trying to use a couple of different camera setups today and it just didn't happen, so we're just gonna roll with it. Now I'm sweating though. Sorry guys, sorry for jumping off. I'm here. Let me just make sure I'm up on Facebook again. This is what I get for trying to change things up 10 minutes before 10 minutes before I come on. Hang on. Am I on? Okay. I'm on. Hi Facebook land. Hi Becky. Okay, I just need to breathe for a second. If one of my family members that's in this house is watching this, can you bring me some water? That would be awesome. All right. Well, today is the, hi Christine. Today is the Quilt As You Go, week 2. I am pretty excited about it. I wanted to talk about a couple of different questions that have come up here this week and help to clarify a couple things. So, first and foremost, several of you guys had some trouble getting the paperwork printed right, and I think what happened was when you pulled it up into Dropbox, because I linked my paperwork to my Dropbox folder, that it was an enlarged scale of what you were looking for, so you couldn't see the cutting instructions at the bottom unless you used your mouse to scroll down, and then when you went to go print it, it printed it on that large scale, so it was still cutting stuff off. So what you have to do, according to my mom-in-law, thank you Nancy, is download the things to your computer locally and then print it out, and then everything will print in the right scale and scope and we should be fine. Hi Nancy, hi Bonnie. Okay. So this week, because I didn't have time to get it done last week before we left on a camping trip, I went ahead and uploaded week 1, which was Pine Top AZ, and the setting square, the setting square quilting instructions. I'm calling it the quilt plan by number. So you guys should have seen this paper. This was the one for Pine Top. I have it like a paint by number. You just follow the lines by number, and then it's a continuous line quilting. So week 1 went up this week. And the setting square, this one went up, so you guys can see the quilt plan by number for the setting square. Just a reminder, do I have a sunburn? I'm a little warm because there was some anxious moments right before I went on camera, so it could be that. Anyway, so these are both up. You should be doing one of these blocks, the setting blocks, every week, and one of the sampler blocks, which this week is Prescott, which is one of my favorite places in Arizona. So that's your 2 blocks for this week. From this point forward, when I upload the cutting instructions on Monday, I will also include the quilt plan by number. All the instruction is going to be here on camera. If you can't join me live, you can watch this on demand on all of the platforms, the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, so don't worry about that. I am going to kind of fly through. Hi, Donna. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Oh, my tattoo. I'll have to talk to you about that. It's my quilted tattoo. It's actually, it's after a Bible verse, Revelation 21. Message me about it. I'll tell you about it. So anyway, this is our overall instructions. And notice, because someone was also asking about this today, these are all the setting squares here, but notice how some of them have different colors in them. If you're trying to pattern yours after what mine looks like, the 4 inset setting triangles are all in a yellow orange color tone, and then as it gets out, the color gradation gets deeper. So my setting squares are going to change. I'm doing that on purpose. But if you're just doing a 3-color quilt, don't worry about it. This is more of a skill building. Hi Missy from Redmond. Missy was on my doorstep today doing a porch drop off for her Ellie bar machine, And we have to talk about when you're going to pick that up tomorrow too, Missy. Anyway, so if you want yours to be more like mine, then my setting square blocks do change color as they radiate out to the outer edge. Yours don't have to do that. I also, Missy was on my doorstep today, and so we were talking. Do not cut all of your backing fabrics. Mom, you were asking about the size of the squares. They're 9 inches. Don't pre-cut them all. Cut them as we go, because when we get to this block and this block, it's not 2 9-inch squares. So don't cut all of your backing all at once. Try and do it by the week. Okay, so that's some housekeeping stuff. Also, I had another question today from Faye. Hi, Faye, if you're joining me. And she was asking me what these numbered spots are. These are the sampler blocks. And I'm asking everybody to hold off putting this together for a little bit, because I'm going to leave it up to you. I'm going to call it dealer's choice in terms of what block you put where based on your colors that you're using. So we're going to hold off actually assembling them for a little bit. We're probably going to get, hi Lisa from Connecticut, we're going to get a few weeks under our belt here, and then I'm going to show you guys the join, because I had another local friend here in Sammamish. Hi Jeanette, if you're watching. She was all a panic about how to put these together. It's super easy. You're gonna just kick yourself when you figure out how easy it is. But we're gonna hold off until we get a little bit further down the road. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping stuff I had today. If you guys have any other questions that are not getting answered, you can email me at info@featherweightdoctor.com, or you can ask on camera if you want to, and maybe someone else is having the same question. So let's get to today. Hang on, let me grab something. I'm sorry, I just realized I tell Ray I need a walking foot ASAP. Okay. Here's the problem. I had a hair appointment this afternoon, and I should have never scheduled it the way that I did, and so now I feel like I'm just running around. I don't usually do that to myself. Okay, so that is the homework and the housekeeping items. Let's talk about this week's block, which is right here, Prescott. So this is this week's block. This is the quote plan. Again, this was available already on the download. So we're going to put that aside here. And then I noticed you guys are all cut when I saw Missy and Jeanette yesterday on a house call. Everybody was all ready to go. I was so impressed with you all. No, walking foot. It's in the pink box. Thanks, babe. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is the instructions that you downloaded. Now, again, I am doing that color gradation fabric. So I am not using a 2-color thing. If you are, you're obviously put them opposite each other, the 2-color thing. Thank you, my dear. Can I have some water too when you get a chance? So this is the block we're doing, and let's go ahead and start putting it together. So the cutting instructions called for 2 7-inch blocks. Here are my colors. See, this was 1 cut of fabric, you guys. Isn't that crazy? 2 7-inch blocks, and then a 6.5 inch by 1.5 inch rectangle and a 8.5 inch by 1.5 inch rectangle. So those are going to be our borders. Let me show you what the block looks like finished. So here are my 2 setting squares that are done and ready to go. And here's Pine Top from last week. Okay, this is tonight. So this is our block. Again, because there are a lot of beginners on here, we are keeping this very simple. We are not doing anything crazy at this point. I eventually am going to add a little bit more complicated stitching if people want to be a little bit more adventurous. She says, Jeanette says, joining them is so mystifying. I trust you though. That's good. I'm glad you guys trust me. So this is what we're making. So the first step is going to be, you are a princess. Daughters are the best. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going, oh, I'm going to tilt the camera down. So this was what I was trying to avoid by using two cameras, but that's just how we're going to roll. So I'm going to tilt the camera down so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll try and pick it up and show you as much as possible. I can squat now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a ruler and I'm going to run a diagonal line down the back side of one of my 7-inch squares. Let me grab a longer ruler. Okay. I'll show you what I'm doing in a second. Again, I'm using my friction pen because it's nice and dark and it goes away with the heat of the iron. All right, so what I've done is I've stuck my two 7-inch squares together, right sides together, and made a little square, and down the back of one of them, I've drawn a diagonal line. Now what I'm gonna do is on either side of that diagonal line, I'm gonna make a 1/4 inch, a parallel seam that is 1/4 inch away from that drawn line. So let me get that sewn. If you're a pinner, feel free to pin. I am not a pinner. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to go down the other side. Let me separate the two. So I'm going to go down the left side. Oopsie, I hate when I do that. When you don't hold your tails and then it pops out of the needle, that drives me crazy. Okay. So it's a little easier. You can see my two stitch lines. I'm going to flip my ironing board over here and cut them apart. So I'm cutting on top of my drawn line. Like so. Now they're separated. Like so. 2 half square triangles. Now I'm going to flip my board over again. Woo! Rotary cutter on the loose. And I'm going to press to one side. Okay. Now I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to line them up so that my seam allowances are away from each other, like so. And then I'm going to see which side I want to keep because we're only going to use one side of this. We're going to draw another diagonal line straight down the middle, perpendicular to our other stitch line. And we're going to sew over, this is really important, we're not straddling each side of the next drawn line, we're actually going to sew down the line. So we'll have one pinwheel, this isn't a pinwheel, but the name is escaping me right at this moment. So I'm going to draw my next line. And again, we're stitching on the second line. We're not straddling it 1/4 of an inch. while I'm here, I'm going to just make sure which side I want to use. So I actually like that side better. Okay, so I'm just going to sew down the drawn line. The first drawn line we did, we straddled both sides of it. This one, we're going to stitch right down the drawn line. Okay, so now what I would recommend you doing if you're using the color, the Gelato E-Ink color gradation fabric, is see which side you like better. So I'm going to open up this side. I actually like that better because it has 4 different colors versus doing this side, which just the 2 darks look very similar. So I'm actually going to cut the other side off. I'm going to use my stitch line as a guideline and cut 1/4 inch off of it on the side that I don't want to keep. Don't cut on your stitch line. You cut 1/4 inch off of it. We're going to save these because we might use them on another block. So as it stands right now, I should have a 6.5 inch triangle. So let me press it and then measure it and trim if I need to. I'm going to press this last seam open. Okay. And then I'm going to get my 6.5 inch ruler and see if how much I need to trim. I actually do need to trim some, so I want it down to size. They need to be 6.5 inches. Okay. Okay, there we are. A perfect X block. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to flank with our background fabrics both sides of our perfect 6.5 inch square. So I'll start on this side. It really doesn't matter which one you do, top, bottom, or left or right, because they're all the same size. So there's that. And now the other side. Okay. All right, let me press these open. And then I'm going to take my 8.5 inch, making sure I have the right sides down, because my fabric is particularly difficult to tell which side to use. I'm just going to sew my 8.5 inch squares on the other sides. I actually took Ruby, that's this machine, my 222, camping with me last weekend, and I watched the river float by and sewed one morning. I made big progress in my True Colors lap quilt. Actually, I'm almost done with the center of it. I was using my Sub-Zero 200 lithium battery to sew I'll probably be posting some pictures of that shortly on the website. So there we go. I'm just going to iron these, and then we'll be ready to take it to quilting. Now, most of the time when we're doing quilting, I'm going to give you guys a continuous line quilting pattern, and it'll be one start and one stop on the whole project. This one, you can start and stop once. You just have to travel over yourself for a half of a line, which is not a big deal. Or you can break threads and start over. But I'm just going to sew on top of myself, hiding my seams, hiding my stitches in the seam. All right, so I've got this. Just pressing everything out with my hands to make sure I don't have any bumps. I'm just going to use 4 little straight pins because that's what I have at my disposal here, and then I'm going to put the walking foot on. So I think I told you guys that I ran out of walking feet because everybody ordered when I announced that we were doing this. I have them back in. This is my favorite walking foot. It has the word Singer on it, but it was not made by Singer. But this one tends to work the best on our little vintage stitchers here. Like I said, I've gone through a couple of different versions of this, and even though they say they're for the machine, they are not. Oh, hi, Abigail. All right, so I'm going to just wiggle this guy on, making sure that the little alligator mouth is up over my needle changer, because otherwise it's not really fully engaged. And I'm going to, okay, so what we're going to do based on our plan is I'm going to start in one of the corners and go I think I have you going down this way first, and then this side, this side, this side, and then coming down and crossing it, and then traveling over yourself to here, and then back up. Nope, and then back up here. It's all on the quilt plan by number, so don't worry if that did not make any sense. Okay, so I'm going to start by bringing my threads up to the top of the project, down and up, and then I grab my bobbin thread and tuck it underneath my foot. And then, like I told you last week, I like to do a series of little baby stitches, because if you've ever tried to, you know, pick out little baby stitches, it's a pain. And Abigail's asking about my thread. So this is Aurifil. You do not need the stand or the post, but it is helpful. And mine is behind me, so I just threw it on here. If you're doing free motion quilting, the stand is a lot more helpful. It's a little more helpful when you're doing the straight stitching. So, okay, so I'm going to go nice and slow. Again, this is a walking foot, not a running foot. I will say that my Featherweight Ruby does not like to go slow. She has 1 speed, Mach 2. And as I get close to the end, I use my hand to roll it, because otherwise it gets a little sloppy. I might shoot right past it. Ruby just wants to tear right through. Okay. Look at that. I happen to stop right in the right spot. Well, maybe. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to go over myself this quarter line to go to my last line. And it should be all hidden in my seam allowances, which is lovely. Do you quilt out to the borders? Bonnie wants to know on Facebook if I quilt out to the borders. I am not quilting these out because they're only going to be an inch big. And so I'm not going to put anything in this particular little 1-inch gutter around the outer edge. All right, and then as I'm coming to an end, I'm going to take my stitch length down real small again, just to end with good stitches. You want to make sure you leave your stitches secure beginning to end. And that is that. Okay, so again, I'm keeping the quilting really easy at the beginning here, and then it's going to get more complicated as we go. So this is week 2, and it's called Prescott Arizona block, and we are already done with it. That went really fast. So again, if you're quilting along with me, you're not quite done. You have to still do your setting square. Don't forget about that. And then next week, I'm not sure which one we're doing yet, but it'll also be very simple like this. I'm trying not to like overwhelm my new students with complicated piecing and complicated quilting. Eventually, we're going to add some free motion to this project too, which will be fun. So this Friday, we're going to be doing our sip and sew. It'll be here this week, and then on Monday, which is my Ask the Doctor series, we are going to talk about some motor issues on Monday. I almost talked about it this last Monday, and then I changed my mind for some reason, and then I actually had someone reach out and ask me about slow motors and what can be done to kind of speed them up. So we're actually going to talk about that on Monday. So slow motors, and guess where I'll be? I will be in my campsite. Yay! I'm so excited. It'll be really fun. So, well, if anybody, hi Melanie, I hope you're doing good. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and email me at info@featherweightdoctor.com. If you're looking for the walking foot still, they are back in stock and they are available on the website, featherweightdoctor.com. Otherwise, I hope everybody, Donna says, so much fun. I hope everybody has a great Wednesday, and I'll look forward to talking to you again on Friday. Go ahead and like this video and feel free to share it with your quilting friends. They don't have to have a featherweight to participate. It is a free content. You can use your Bernina. I just want to get people quilting and really make famous these little machines by showing everybody what they can really do. So anyway, have a great night. It was good to talk to y'all.